Hey girl, what is going on? So thank you so much for watching my first murder and make up your mind. If you're new here, hey, I do my makeup and talk to you about really special people that passed away and usually some unfortunate event. On top of wearing masks, this is not a good time if you nervous touch your face. I saw a subreddit, what got you into true crime? I checked out the first piece, and no beef to the individual who wanted to discuss Bambi Lynn Dick. I was trying to remember what was the first thing that really got me into it. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks in the night. Today, I'm gonna be talking about the murder of Tara Lynn Grant. It's gonna be fun. Let's get started. Gotta murder, make up your mind. Give you that Sunday morning vibe, true crime. Get ready with me. That's what it is. That's the theme. So our girl, Tara. Tara was a Cancer. She was born in June of 1972. She had one sibling, her sister, Alicia. She went to Michigan State University, earning herself a business degree. Tara was killing it. She had like a skyrocketing career with Washington Group International. Her job required her to travel and have all sorts of international opportunities. Tara was 34 when her husband, Stephen, called the police, reporting that his wife had been missing on Valentine's Day of 2007. In the call to the police, Stephen said that he heard Tara talking to somebody on the phone. Say, "I'll meet you at the end of the driveway." And she got in a dark-colored vehicle that left, and he hasn't spoken to her since. That was 5 days prior. Stephen didn't want to call sooner because his wife often does this. They married sometime in the late 90s, and her kids were 6 and 4 at the time that she went missing. As I said earlier, Tara's career was booming and demanding. Stephen took pride and coined the term Mr. Mom. While Tara was doing her thing, while Tara was being successful, making that coin, being the sweet baby angel she was, at the time that Tara went missing, she had been doing like a massive project in San Juan. So she was flying back and forth from Detroit and there at the time. So 5 days after her alleged disappearance, the search for Tara continues. Stephen and the police are making multiple appearances in the media. Stephen is actually talking to the media more than he's talking to authorities about the matter. After the 2 weeks that Tara goes missing, Stephen is pulled over. He gets pulled over for having a suspended driver's license. Gets arrested and is taken into custody.
Super irresponsible to have a suspended driver's license, especially when he has 2 children that need to get places because you can't really walk around where they were in Michigan.
After Grant was arrested and taken into custody for having a suspended driver's license, he went to the media and shared all about his mistreatment from the police and said that he was facing harassment from the authorities. I did too much contour right here. It said that he was facing harassment from the authorities and they used his suspended license as a way to get him to come into the station for questioning. Sir, it is against the law to drive with a suspended license. They denied this allegation. They said that Grant was unwilling from the top of the investigation to cooperate with the police. He said no to questioning, but over time agreed to do the polygraph test as long as the police weren't the ones doing it. If you can't tell, this guy's not totally on his rocker. While I was doing some research for the story, I wanted to see if he passed that test. Found an article by Macomb Daily that said Stephen's attorney, David Graham, would not allow him to take the test. So David Graham called the police, bringing him in for a suspended license, a pretext arrest. Cops asked Stephen why he didn't report his wife missing sooner. Stephen said that they got into a fight before she left, and that she always comes back. The police found out that Stephen was trying to reach Tara because they listened to a phone message she left her. We are not off to a great start with this, pal. Just gonna take a look at my photo, get some inspo. So the cops switched trajectory and obtained a search warrant. Stephen's attorney had more to say. The legality of this warrant holding up are slim to none. He also said that when Grant reported her missing, he gave the cops permission to check the desired areas that they wanted to search anyhow. Kelly, Stephen's sister, who was living in my exact neighborhood at the time, she received word to come pick up Stephen, and together the family would go home or out to dinner to await the results of the police searching the home. Kelly said, and I quote, "We knew this was coming. He knows he hasn't done anything. Going to find any evidence of any wrongdoing whatsoever, so that's fine. They can search the home. They find stuff. And if they do happen to find something that Steve didn't tell them, where Tara's gone or might be hiding, more power to them." At least Kelly's in high spirits during this time. So before they could even tell Stephen that they found a human torso, he made a run for it. They found a human torso in the garage, inside a plastic bag, inside of plastic Tupperware, and they believe it was Tara. They get an open murder arrest warrant for Grant. Stephen fled 235 miles to Michigan's Wilderness State Park. Police tracked a call from Stephen's phone to his sister. It's the eyes for me. I mean, this family's nutso butso. They tracked a phone call 2 days prior to finding Stephen alone in this park. He is freezing alive, literally. They found Stephen in the woods with liquor and pills that he took from his sister's house with the intention of committing suicide. He was brought into custody, but the police realized how long he'd been out there naked. Mind you, this man was found naked. They had to airlift him to the hospital in Flint, Michigan, to treat his hypothermia. Once Stephen was in the hospital bed, he could not stop confessing. Stephen confessed for about 2 hours. After the argument that he had with Tara, he accused her of spending too much time with a coworker. Too much time working, and that made Tara upset. She said something close to this: "I'm taking the kids, you're a loser, and you're gonna be homeless pretty soon." The trauma is real.
I'm making a mess back here.
Stephen grabs Tara's wrist. She slaps him. Then he hit her head, hit her hard enough to knock her down to the ground. There, Stephen strangled Tara with a nearby piece of clothing, and I quote, "She finally grabbed my hand, but it was too late. I couldn't stop. I knew I was going to prison. I panicked." Stephen was using a belt wrapped around Tara's neck to drag her down the steps, and it snapped. When it broke, passing his 4- and 6-year-old, her head hit the concrete right before Stephen was able to put her inside the SUV. 48 hours after the attack, Stephen went to his father's shop. There, he cut up Tara's body and scattered her remains in a nearby park. He had to drink whiskey through the process to operate the hacksaw, and confessed that he vomited through the process. In a quote from an ABC article, Stephen said, "I just told myself, look, if you don't do this, then you're going to prison for the rest of your life. And I just kept cutting her." He took his kids' sled and dragged the pieces of Tara's body into the snowy park. In a press conference, the police said that they planned to search the park. So Stephen went back to pick up the remains that he just scattered, but he could only find one piece in the snow: her torso. He had a lot going on with the drugs and the hypothermia. I keep crying. What the We're gonna get some redemption on this side. Stephen, however, before murdering his wife, Stephen avoided the cops pretty successfully, except for 1989, where he was arrested for carrying a concealed weapon and driving recklessly. But that was the 80s. Nobody cared about that. So Stephen was found guilty on the charge of murder and mutilation of a corpse on December 21st, 2007. Sentenced to a minimum of 50 years in prison. On March 30th of 2010, Stephen exhausted all of his appeals, maintaining the original sentence of 50 to 80 years in prison. Oh my gosh, literally this is the most bothersome thing in my whole entire existence. But I'm gonna fix it at the end. In March of 2015, Stephen submitted a petition for writ of habeas corpus. I didn't know what this was, so I looked it up. It is a report of unlawful detention or imprisonment. Judge David Lawson denied the motion. You talked to an attorney after the fact that you got really messed up in the woods, and no one cares if you're uncomfy in jail, because you're a murderer. Police made a large effort to get an unbiased jury in the courtroom to hear Stephen's case fairly. Oh, this is awful. Kelly, Stephen's sister, tried to get custody of the children. She said Stephen would want the children to be with Kelly. And that's what everybody's exactly afraid of. So the children are currently being raised by Tara's sister, Alicia, and her husband, Eric, in Ohio. For the last 7 years, the family has worked with Turning Point, a domestic violence shelter and outreach organization, raising money and awareness with a walk in Tara's memory. Her sister said, in the Detroit area and really nationwide, Tara's story was so big, we wanted to use her name in a positive way to get the word out about domestic violence. Talking about the children, Tara's sister Alicia said, we've tried to teach them that just because this happened in their family to a loved one, this doesn't define who they are and who they will become. Alrighty, and that is the murder of Tara Lynn Grant. It's a doozy. First memory of a murder. I think it's just allergy season. I couldn't tell you what the I just wanted to try it again and try filming at night, and I think I like it better. This is the better look than before. Damn, it's full circle in a year.
Full circle in a year. Not much to see here.
Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you did. Can't wait to get back at it with the next one. Hey, have a wonderful day. See you next week. Hopefully when the pollen is not so bad or something.